This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. She is our go-to when it comes to acupuncture, massage, and more. And today, a little bit of a surprise for many of the things that acupuncture can support, one of them being fertility. It can be a very challenging time in a couple's life where they're looking to conceive, but things aren't really working. Acupuncture to the rescue. Let's dig into that. She's the woman behind Tulsa Path, which is a wonderful place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where people are getting treatments and more. And she is Teresa Wilkinson, and she's back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you back here. And this is also one of those things that some may not realize that acupuncture can help with, and it's fertility, which is kind of a surprise. Walk us through that. There's so many questions, even how it even makes a difference. What do you think is our starting point today?
Well, one thing is I try to help people actually do it naturally and where they can plan their family. So say you have 3 girls and you want that boy, or you've got 3 boys and you want that girl. How do you accomplish that? Most doctors don't let anybody know. They don't explain it. So, for instance, who runs faster when you're a little kid and you're running in the playground? Who runs faster, a boy or a girl?
I got to be careful with my answer. I'm gonna say the boy.
Of course.
Okay.
Boys are faster, they're stronger. You know, think about in military times, before current times, it was always the men that went to war. Women may have gone as nurses or administrative, but the men were the ones out there on the battlefield.
Well, I wasn't even looking at through that lens. I was looking at it. I thought in process for a moment, and more about younger boys have a lot of energy that needs to go somewhere, right? So that's where I went with that.
Okay, so boys' sperm swim fast, and they only live 12 to 24 hours. Girls' sperm swim slow. They go window shopping, they hang out, and they they live 48 to 72 hours. Wow. So what you do is you start planning your cycle, and one of the ways to do it, and they also use this with the IVF clinics, is progesterone. So our pituitary, our master gland, which is what you think of as that third eye, is what produces all the hormones and endorphins in our body. So the first one is pregnenolone. The second one is progesterone. So pregnenolone makes progesterone. Progesterone is the foundation block for all endorphins and hormones to be made. So what is happening is with our air, food, and water, all the petroleum that we are exposed to actually creates what's called a xenoestrogen, Xeno. That xenoestrogen takes over the receptor sites of the progesterone. So a lot of times people will get breast cancer and they'll say it's estrogen dominant. Well, it's not the way God made our estrogen to cause us to have cancer. It's the xenoestrogen from the pollutants we're exposed to that causes cancer. So if you think of all the different petroleum products that are sprayed on the crops when they're being grown, things like that. So it throws off women's ability to have a good cycle. So if you use the progesterone, it comes in a cream, you can start getting your cycle regulated and knowing exactly when you're going to ovulate. And when you know that, then you can plan if you're going to have a boy or a girl. So if you want a boy, you have sex that day You ovulate. If you want a girl, you do it 2 days ahead of time because the only ones left are the girls. The boys are dead and gone.
Is it reasonable to think, based on this, which I wasn't even aware of, that it's kind of special if you conceive a boy because, you got a short window there, and is that
It,
reason?
it,
Yeah.
it is. And so I'm sure back Henry VIII, I don't know if you remember, but if those wives did not produce heir, a male for him, they were usually beheaded. I don't know if you remember the stories about Henry VIII.
Mm, wow.
So that brings a little history in about why boys are important or hard to come
And
by.
this was before anybody knew that the male swimmers are slower. So like the
no,
odds were
the
stacked.
no, no, the males are faster.
I'm sorry,
Straight up,
they're faster, right?
they're
Which
faster.
which means you have a limited window.
Yes, 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 yes.
Wow. Okay.
So
So
it is. So you've got to be spot on knowing when you're ovulating, and there are natural ways of doing that. In modern times, you can go to the drugstore and get these little strips that you pee on.
mhm.
Back before we had these strips, there's different natural ways. And of course, one thing interesting is the women back in ancient times more lived outdoors. Um, in different cultures going back in time, women always ovulated on the full moon. So the full moon activated that pituitary gland because of the light at night. And so you can simulate that by putting a light in your bedroom when you're wanting to ovulate to kind of activate that pituitary gland. But there's a temperature method, there's a mucus method, there's some different methods that you can use naturally without the strips. But anymore, everybody uses the strips because it's the most modern science.
Hmm.
But anyway,
If it's a red light in the bedroom, we're talking about something totally different. Just kidding. Right away, I hear the police
yeah,
and Roxanne. Oh, the red light. Uh,
the red light district. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well,
So,
anyway,
this is news in my mind here about the light at night.
that's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, and so the third eye is detecting the light, or is it going through?
Yeah, no, it's detecting the light.
My gosh!
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that the pituitary, the master gland for our whole body that makes endorphins and hormones for our entire body, going all the way down the thyroid. The liver has 500 um, activities. The gallbladder has 300. Those 300 enzymes go help the spleen and the pancreas. So there's a lot going on. So when they just take out a gallbladder, it's really affecting the body with digestion and all kinds of things. So
So, based on your studies and everything involved here, would you say that all these pesticides, all these environmental challenges that have popped up have made obviously us sicker, but harder to conceive? Because I've noticed more and more fertility places, IVF places opening up in the past, I don't know, say 15 years, 15 plus.
exactly. So that's it. So if you think about going back to pre-World War II, we didn't have all these chemicals. It was more organic farming. They didn't do all this that they do now with the commercial farming. And then now, if you put in natural progesterone, natural plant-based, that's natural to your body will ditch that xenoestrogen and latch on to the natural progesterone. And so that makes your body healthier and better equipped to conceive and also get your cycle regulated so you know exactly when you're ovulating so you can pinpoint uh, having that boy or having that girl. And then some people are so desperate they don't care if they get a boy or girl; they just want to have one. But
Hmm.
also, the pollution affects men's sperm. It makes the double-headed, double-tailed, makes them difficult to swim. So it will affect the pollution will affect the male as well as the female as far as fertility goes. So they check both. When you go to one of those clinics, they're checking to see if the male sperm is good, or if the female, if it's the eggs that are the problem. Now, going back to what we talked about last time with the grounding mat, we have, I help with fertility through that device, microcirculation device called the Beamer. Bioelectromagnetic energy regulation is what it stands for. And it's the same wave as our body and of the earth. So I will use that to help with the production of healthy sperm, or help with the production of, say, a healthy lining in the uterus for the eggs to want to settle in, because miscarrying is an issue. A lot of times people will miscarry. That's one big clincher about the transfer of that egg is it going to settle in and stay, or will it flush out? So if you don't have that progesterone, so they do progesterone shots when they do that transfer and before, to get that body ready to want to keep that egg and go through the process. The other interesting thing is I do acupuncture to help with positioning of the baby if it's in the wrong position for delivery. I also use it for inducing labor. They're also finding that the babies that are going through the IVF treatment will have better survival rate if they go a month early. So a lot of times I'm inducing a month early to help with the survival rate of the baby. Isn't that interesting?
There's so much involved here that many of us don't even realize. And we didn't even start to get into how acupuncture can support fertility,
Well,
right? What's actually going
well,
on there?
that's the key thing is support. So during the process of uh, getting the transfer of the egg, gathering the eggs, getting them, and then of course then they fertilize them and then freeze them, and then getting the body prepared to receive the egg. And sometimes they do two eggs, and they can split. So you have to be ready that you could have two, three, or four babies. So if you've ever been to Disney in Orlando, you might see somebody pushing a carriage of four. So you got to be ready if you do put two eggs in, and what could happen. But
Well, by the way, I'm a twin, so I get it.
are you really?
Yeah,
Are you?
fraternal.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Well, is it every other generation?
I'm not really sure. I've heard that though, now that you say
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So,
Okay.
have you enjoyed being a twin?
Yes, we're very different, very different. I'm 15 minutes older, so I always say I'm the wiser one.
Yeah, you got to get your punches in when you can.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes, yes. But
Well,
it's funny, back then, women weren't awake during birth. Right. My mother always told me that story. They knock you out. They knock you out. This is going way
okay.
back.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, did they do it cesarean?
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
My mother, back in 1950, when she had my brother, they did gas like nitrous. Well, if you, she completely went out when she's now pushing to deliver this baby. Well, he gets stuck in the birth canal because she passes out. And so then he's got a lack of oxygen. So he comes out blue. And so back then they had incubators, is what they call them.
Yep.
So they had to put him in an incubator. And so she really didn't have that bonding experience or getting to hold him or, any of that. And then when I came along, they were like, you're not getting anything. You just got to tough it out. They didn't have, the things they have now with the spinals and where they
Epidural,
numb
right?
you, epidurals. Yeah.
Well, why did they? I mean, I know we digress here, but I've always wondered about that. Like, why would they knock you out when you're giving birth? So how do you push? How do you do anything if
You don't. That's why they came up with that epidural thing, because you're awake. It just numbs you from the
right?
waist down so you don't feel the contractions. Now, interesting thing about acupuncture, and I used to help kind of midwife and do the labor delivery part, is there's auricular therapy in the ear, 2 points that you can hook up to an electric stimulation, and I would clip it on, tape it to their neck, give them the device. And back then, this is pretty old, but anyway, I would leave them with it. If they were having a contraction, they would turn it up, and they wouldn't feel any pain of the contraction. When the
Wow.
contraction subsided, then they'd have this buzz in their ear and they'd have to turn it down. So that's why I left them the machine where they could turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down during their contractions and stuff.
It
And
almost
so,
reminds me of when somebody is in pain and they have morphine and they just press the button to dispense more. It almost
uh-huh.
sounds like that. But then I'm also wondering now with this buzzing thing in your ear, um, could almost be like a placebo because now you're focusing on the buzzing and you're not focusing on any other things that are going on.
Well, you turn it down so you don't have the buzz.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
see, in the beginning, labor can be very erratic. So you could, so no, you turn it down when it's not coming
that's
on.
it.
You just turn it up when you do have it,
Wow.
and then it wipes out the labor pain. So anyway, acupuncture is used, okay, just like you said, to support the body, and it's for men and women. I've had women that are the ones that come in all the time, and then they've had difficulty. It might be their second go around, and it's costly. I don't know if you realize, but it can
Yes.
cost, like a second mortgage on a house kind of
Yep.
thing. And so if you're going into your second time, you weren't successful once or twice, you may have your husband come in for acupuncture. And then I've had that happen, and boom, it worked. It's as beneficial for men as it is women.
So, Teresa, can you walk us through? Let's look at a woman and acupuncture and conception. When you work with them using acupuncture, what's actually going on?
Well, you can work on the front or the back, but I usually do the back because we carry a lot of tension and stress in our back. So why not in the front of the body, the belly? It's tender. So to me, it's better to do the points on the back side. But first, you got to think, okay, you got to have a heart. Your spirit has to be involved in having a child. You've got to have your heart into it because it's a lot of work. I mean, so you have to do heart points for the heart. So if you think, hey, this is the heart, then back here is going to be the points for the heart on the back, and
Wow.
then if you think of the uterus or the kidneys, which the adrenals are producing the hormones, sex hormones. You're going to do the lower back, and so you want um, you want to have the upper back, lower back, and then I do what's called extraordinary points. There's 4 pairs of extraordinary points, and they're opposite wrist, foot, and they cover the entire body. So I will do a pulse diagnosis, tongue diagnosis, and then go from there on choosing what pair to do. And then when I get closer to, say, if I do a treatment, they always like to have a treatment done after the transfer, either before or after the transfer. If it's after the transfer, I'm very careful. I don't do arm, hand, and foot points because they can induce miscarry. Now, I know a lot
Hmm.
of these clinics will have acupuncturists there when they do the transfer. So some of the people in Tulsa go to St. Louis for their transfer, or they go to Denver. Um, and they've told me that sometimes they'll do these points on their hands, which, like the web of the hand, which actually are the ones you do to induce labor. So but they're also for relaxation. But I avoid them because I want to make sure I'm not responsible for causing anyone to lose those eggs, because that's a big process they go through. Very emotional too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And now I get why you have a point to connect to the heart, because that's so important to make sure
Yeah.
that, the it's resonated and within the couple, and the woman, if you're working out that time, really wants this, wants to conceive. Those 4 points that you mentioned, are they specific to fertility and acupuncture, or you address those in other situations as well?
Other situations as well, and they're four pairs.
Okay.
So it's four pairs. So, and they're opposite. Remember how we talked about the electromagnetic uh, part of our body is electromagnetic. So positive, negative. So it's opposite. So one point will be on the hand, the other point will be on the opposite foot.
Gotcha.
So, but there's four pairs, and they call them extraordinary because they have the ability to cover the whole body. And so you can get a lot done. You can cover a lot of the organ systems with those points. So, say for instance, even if it's a sciatica, low back, and it's going all the way down through the hip and down the leg, back of the leg, knee to the ankle, there's actually a pair that you do at the outside of the ankle, but also on the outside of the wrist. And that goes all the way up the leg, all the way up the head, so it can treat even migraines and that kind of thing. And the arms are involved. So the legs, the entire spine, the brain, and then the arms. So it covers a lot. So just those 2 points can cover a lot. So um, I've gone in and done classes with nursing students where might have 150 to 100 students in a class, and there's what's called 10 special points, and I can go through and treat like 100 people real quickly
Wow.
with just using focusing on those points because of how much they can treat in a short amount of time and be, real easy to do with somebody just sitting there at a table or a desk.
So we're out of time. Learned a lot today. Covered a lot of territory. Final question, and this is learned a lot. This is not scientific at all, but if you gave a percentage in terms of increasing somebody's chances to conceive through acupuncture, what percentage would you say this would increase your chances? Again, this is not scientific. Everybody's different, but would you say, again, ballparking broadly here, 30%, you're probably increasing your chances, or 40, or whatever it might be. If you're having trouble conceiving, now you went over to acupuncture. What do you think?
Well, I will say before these IVF clinics got to be real popular, I was doing it naturally with acupuncture and the progesterone cream. And I would say, I'm going to say like 80%.
Wow.
If they
Okay.
were if they were came in once a week for say 5 to 10 weeks, did the progesterone cream, and a lot of times they would get pregnant pretty quickly once they got their cycle on track, where they could zero in on that ovulation time. Boom,
Wow.
they had really good luck. So I actually try to encourage people, if you can, try it naturally first before you go pay all that money,
Sure.
because it's a lot to go through, physically even,
Yeah.
as well
And
as monetarily.
there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee.
No, there
Uh,
isn't.
Fascinating what acupuncture can support. Just amazing. Teresa, how How does somebody find out more about your center there in Tulsa?
Well, I guess Google is your best bet. Everybody, and I guess there's also, I've heard there's Chat
Chat
CPT. Have you heard it?
Chat GPT, right? AI.
GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess there's different ways you can look, but we are on the first page, so we should be able to be found pretty easily. And you can make an appointment on the website, online, on your phone, pretty easy. So come look for us. Just think the
Yeah.
path to wellness.
Well, as you said,
Yeah.
excuse me, you're the go-to, and people go to you from everywhere for this, to increase their chances of conceiving. Thank you for today. Learned a lot. Looking forward next time we get together. Really cool.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you, Steve.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.